Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the stream. We have been smashing out content all week this week. We've got loads more stuff coming. On this one, we've got Kyle from SD-ESK8 crew. He reached out to me a little while ago. We've just been chatting, and it's just really great to see another representative from another demographic, from another crew, and talk about everything PEV and ESK8. So, without further ado, bring Kyle in, talk about stuff. We're here for about an hour. Please ask your questions. And we have two guys to chat about the community. So let's go. What's up, Carl? Welcome to the stream. I'm really glad to have you here today. I love meeting people like you and talking about the community because it's all about kind of getting different perspective on what we do and just have a little bit of catch up. So, do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, and how you're involved in the scene?
Yeah, so I'm Kyle. I'm the founder of SD-ESK8 and also our subsidiaries, the SD-ESK8 Foundation, which is a nonprofit, and the Advanced Riders Division, which is a racing team and hopefully at some point a league. And I do a lot of community work for PEVs in Southern California.
So it's absolutely great having you on the stream. Like I say, it's really great to see like event organisers as well. I don't know about you, when I went to the ESK8, just every conversation is about ESK8 at the moment, I don't know why. But meeting people like yourself and talking to other like kind of facilitators in the PEV community is really nice because it's all well and good, obviously, going to events, riding, all that stuff, but people don't see the stuff that goes behind it and the gratifications you have from different demographics. So how did you always start from grassroots? How did you get into the scene? What was day one for you?
So actually, believe it or not, I was one of the original members, but I was not one of the original founders of SD-ESK8. So it started off as basically I just got flagged down by a random dude while I was riding, and I joined a group chat. And that group chat grew to a Facebook page. And then actually right about when things were starting to get interesting, the original founders left. So one of them went to go into school and the other one went to go and do car stuff. And I was like, well, shit, nobody's running these events anymore. These were awesome. And I reached out to one of them on Facebook and I said, hey man, would you mind maybe just letting me take over the page? And that's how it started. So I took over the Facebook page and just had to do something different at every event. So we started picking up sponsors so we could give away safety gear. I invested in like a whole PA system because I was tired of yelling at like crowds of like 30 plus people. We started developing connections at different venues because we wanted places to run like barbecues and stuff. And then it just kept spiraling out of control until I had basically 3 businesses.
Right. So the interesting thing with that is when you say you kind of come in as kind of there's like a transition with the group, like, do you have experience in hosting, organizing? Because like these are skills obviously that expand over the time, and obviously you're like, how can I make this better? Was you doing other stuff before hosting and organizing people?
So I have a little bit of managerial work in my day-to-day job, but God, no, I was completely unprepared. And I'm really grateful that our burn has been relatively slow, right? Because we started off, I was running like 5 or 6 dudes, then it was 10, then it was 20, right? So I had a little bit of breathing room to understand how these events would go as they scaled up. But it's all been on the job learning. It has been a little hairy in some spots, honestly. Yeah.
I was going to say something about that is I think people forget obviously the journey that goes into these events. It's just rinse and repeat and not getting kind of heartstrong when people don't turn up, or then there's negativity with events like that. So, you know, it's about continually hosting and saying what you missed at this event and please come back for more and more. So what was your first kind of, you say about getting into SD-ESK8 and then that kind of transaction kind of take over in a way, really, and building a team along that. What was your first kind of like introduction to PEVs and generally?
This is kind of a goofy story, actually. So I had done like a little bit of like longboarding and downhilling in high school, but it just kind of stayed there. I didn't have a ton of interest in skating. So one day a buddy of mine needed some help getting his computer fixed, and I work in IT. So I was like, hey, I can fix your computer. It's going to cost you $150. And he's like, perfect. Yep, that's like half of what they quoted me. Get it done. So I got it done, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have any money." Like, okay, well,
after you
what's gonna happen
pre-agreed, yeah?
now?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, there's this skateboard I bought on Amazon in the other room, and it's broken, but it's worth $400, and I bet you can fix it." Right? So he hands me this busted ass, I think it was a Blitzart Hurricane. You remember those things? They're terrible. Right? And I'm like, okay, well, I guess like it's better than not getting any money.
Yeah.
So I fixed it up, and just instantly I was hooked. It was so much fun.
So how long ago was that for you then? That first board?
Man, it must have been 4 or 5 years. A while.
Because one thing I saw is I always do a little bit of digging before I get started. I'm going to bring this one up back here because I saw, because you said about your involvement in the IT, and you said before we go on stream your engagement with like building and stuff like that. Was this day one with Esk8? Besides obviously your busted ass board.
That was the first time I really wanted to get into building. I wanted to learn more, and that BKB was ground zero. That was one of the first kits they ever sent out. I was like, there was like threading issues. I had to reprogram that ESC.
I can see the title of the confidence as well.
Oh,
as it
none
goes
whatsoever. I have good insurance, so we ball.
I just love these kind of kits up, and I think, do they do these? Does this company still do these kind of kits? I don't know.
Yeah, they've gotten like, the first ones were good. The thing about I love BKB. My general take on them is that while they will fix anything that's wrong in their first generation products and they will make you whole, there are always
a clean build. Look how smooth the enclosure.
Dude, yeah, right? Isn't that gorgeous? So
and
like,
this is 120 weeks ago. So what's that? What, two and a half years
ago? Yeah. It's that BKB kit kickstarted a huge fascination. So if you look on my wall, not at the tabor, but above it, there's like $6,000 in progress builds right here.
Oh, is it evolved as it goes along?
Oh, 100%. The death traps are still death traps. They just take more out of my bank account before they throw me on the ground.
So if you always just, because I've seen other things as well when you've been forced to ride one wheels as well, when people getting into your line as you're practicing. I'm trying to find it now.
I hate that I know exactly the video you're about to pull up. Yeah. No, I am not great on a one wheel. They scare me, bro.
I think this is it. Let me just... I don't know if this is the video or photo.
My collarbone itches whenever I get close to them.
I feel like that's a peer pressure. There's a peer pressure moment.
100%. So this is Status. They're a local skate shop that we've worked with to try and like build some engagement and get people to cross over.
There, isn't it? Look at the color.
Oh my god, they're so nice. And they're great, but right now they only sell one wheels for like PEVs, and they're trying to like get more information and branch out and learn more. So we've been trying to work with them. But I got bullied into riding a one wheel by these dudes are actually from our race team. So
really?
Oh yeah, 100%. So they're all like great at riding anything, and I'm great at starting like 501c3s. So I just get dragged out onto a racetrack occasionally. So they were bullying me. They're like, "Hey, you got to try the one wheel, bro."
Because that's what I say about the SD-ESK8, and I think that's what more and more. I think it starts off with Esk8 crews and groups, stuff like that. But it becomes more than just like that. With SD-ESK8, you can see here, when I'm looking at rides and events, it's everything. It's absolutely everything at these events, and some wild, wacky, and I'm gonna say outright insane stuff being ridden.
I think Chris is in the chat right now. This is Chris Tulio. He's great. Your friend Chris.
It's amazing. But look, I don't know about you, as a event organizer and a host, I love nothing more than looking behind me and I don't see the same thing. Everything
100%. No, we started off as very Esk8 focused, but then I noticed that every event, people were popping up like all on just we had go-karts, EUCs. We had someone come up on a full-size like Harley Davidson live wire once. I'm like, hey man, we're about to go down bike paths. Are you good? And he's like, oh, it'll be fine. I didn't see him for the rest of the meet. So either he did a great job being low key or he died somewhere.
And he could do so much hosting.
Oh,
keep
yeah.
an eye on people.
Pedestrians don't like it when you roll a motorcycle over them, I assume.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So obviously you've done the hosting and events and stuff like that. But like I say, you've got the SD-ESK8. So where with the organisation here, and this is one thing I'm really curious with, because I've taken a step back with the UK community search. I'm trying to figure out how do we be all inclusive and kind of move forward. Like I really like what you guys are doing here, but you're doing something here which is slight. I want to discuss like how did this come about with the non-profit having as an organisation, and then having like a membership with the group. So how does that work with SD-ESK8 going forward? Because I can see that you always are throwing stuff out into the field of people with sponsorship, giveaways, and stuff like that. Is this how that's funded with stuff like that?
Oh god, no. I wish that was funded. Last year I spent 10K on this thing and my accountant basically fried me. No, so it's interesting. So right now we are not solvent. The nonprofit is propped up mostly by my personal salary, and there's a lot of work that we do that costs a lot of money that I think a lot of people don't necessarily have a great grasp on. So like for instance, the intro to speed lot that we use, it's a city lot, right? And it gets torn up. So I pay to have someone come out and resurface it so we can keep racing there. We have a website that people can buy their merch on. I pay to host that website, and I pay for the services that allow people to buy a shirt online and have it shipped to their door a week later. And I was doing all of that really before we were a nonprofit, and I was like, okay, well, this is going to bankrupt me at some point if I keep just exponentially increasing my expenditure. What is the best way to stop it from doing that while also maintaining our community focus? I don't want to turn it into a business where, you have to buy a ticket to an event or something awful. And a friend of mine suggested that I look into building a 501c3, like a general purpose charity. I have no background in anything related to that. It was super confusing. The process was terrible. But we did eventually get there. And the nice thing is I get a massive tax break when I spend on these events. We get to push a lot of value to other sponsors because they get a tax cut anytime they work with us. And it lets us also approach people and work with them when they might otherwise have turned us away. So for instance, if we want to run an event with like a local go-kart track, I'm not going to name names. There's a local go-kart track we work with occasionally. And we get access to that for free. And I just sign a big fat waiver at the end that says, yep, they let us in here for free. We're a 501c3. Here's your 10K tax write-off. I cannot give them $10,000 to rent that track out. But what I can do is say, give them a receipt that says they gave it to us for free, and then they can go and collect that money back at the end of the year. Which just being able to do that opens up a lot of opportunities for our riders in our community.
So there's hell of a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So how do you find, so with the team that you have now, like I say, it's not just yourself, you've expanded and you've been hosting like that. How have you looked at trusting or getting more people on board of expanding? Because the thing is, how do we standardize it? Is it legal in San Diego where you ride?
Actually, for some psychotic reason, yes. Our lawyer hates me, by the way, because I'll be like, hey, can I run 100 people down this street? This is on my road map. And they have to go and dig and look for all these things. So there's some really interesting laws in California specifically. Assembly Bill 604 gets tossed around a lot that basically legalize a certain class of motor vehicles. Specifically, they're referred to as electrically motorized boards. The Esk8 is a very neat fit. Some hoverboards can kind of be classified under it. One wheels are dicey. They technically don't meet the requirements, but they do. But they fall short in a way that's kind of hard to prove. But what Assembly Bill 604 does in broad strokes is it legalizes the usage of those vehicles in certain low speed and mixed use applications, right? So you can take them in a class 2 bike lane. You can take them in a class 4 bike lane. You can take them out on roads that are under 35 miles per hour as long as you meet the device requirements. It's actually pretty friendly. And because of some of the loose language and the way the bill is worded, and because of some of the intersections with biking and pedestrian law, you actually wind up with a lot more leeway than you think. So if there's a class 2 bikeway in a road, right? Under California law, if operating your bike in a class 2, or if operating your bike or your personal vehicle in a class 2 bikeway becomes unsafe, you are allowed to merge left into the actual vehicle lane. And there's an argument to be made that if you try to pack 100 people into a bike lane, it becomes unsafe. So I go to the lawyer, I say, hey, can we get away with this? He says yes, usually, and so we go and we do it.
So you put your homework in, whatever you do, you don't just. That's the thing. I like to think. I don't know how better field based, but I feel like there's chapters and history with the PEV community, and we're going through those now, and we've got such a wealth of diversity nowadays. I think now is like the next chapter 3, I'd say, in a way, like the heritage of what they built. 2, early days technology. 3, and then we've got moving on here. So is that the main goal for yourself and with SD-ESK8, kind of standardizing everything with what we do and make it like a professional? So when you go to an event and say we do this, and you already have the answers to questions they haven't even asked yet.
Yeah, so the big thing for us is our community has grown explosively, and it's hard to do this in a way that is both growth oriented and responsible and sustainable, right? So what I want is to build a group of people and a community that can advocate and build up this sport. And you can't do that if you're antagonizing cops and pedestrians and all these other things. So a huge part of the impetus behind founding the nonprofit was getting this sport to a place where it's recognized not as like ratchet crazy kids doing stupid stuff out in the road, but as like a community. And there are some really incredible transportation equity and clean tech and alternate transport options that are only available with light electric vehicles. And even in a place like Southern California, where there's like a huge bike culture, a huge skate culture, a huge, clean energy culture, there hasn't been a lot of traction with personal electric vehicles. And we want to change that. And changing that will bring more people into our community, generate more opportunities for our riders, and just make this entire space a better place for people.
So I said just before, so you talked about the SD-ESK8 and obviously standardizing and having that professional approach, which obviously helps the next generation and makes bigger and better events. Like, how do you have your team alongside you? So you've got your lawyers and that stuff. How do you pick these people? Because obviously you're established at this point. You're putting a standardization of what you're doing, and it's coming across professional. And you're making events, hosting them. People want to come to them, and you've got affiliates with companies, and they know they can trust things to be done well. How do you put that trust into next people and adding to that?
It's been tricky, honestly. I had a lot of issues letting go of some of these pieces of our operation early on, but I've been extremely fortunate to have a bunch of really, really dedicated volunteers and team members. So nobody gets paid for any of this. I think I'm the only one who's actively losing money, but nobody else gets paid, right? But early on, we had a few different people who were very integral in working on the administration team. Seb was one of the original founders, and after a little bit of a hiatus, he came back, and he's been influential beyond compare in getting us connected out to these other EV companies. Ryan, RBE Motion on YouTube, is one of the other administrators. He's an extremely talented builder, engineer, racer, rider, and he and Reggie, Electriv have been holding down our racing operations. So they go, they set up the cones, they plan out the events. They've even got to the point where they generate most of their own marketing. That side of it is really theirs. And then I have ride leaders like Cody, Raider Esk8. He was one of the first people that wanted to work with me back before we were anything. And we just set up rides together because he always had these amazing routes. He eventually wound up joining the team as well. And then, other the administration, like we have the actual community leader program. So people who come out and volunteer and spend a lot of time at our events tend to be really, really engaged, and we wanted a way to reward that. So we founded what's called the Community Leader Program, where people who are notable, you know, they're volunteering, they're helping out with tools and you know, helping people fix their boards, helping set up and tear down events. All these people get the opportunity occasionally. We're opening up a new batch of them here pretty soon to join the Community Leader Program. They get a spiffy shirt, they get to work with us, and they get a little bit closer connections with sponsors, but mostly they do it because they love the community. And that gives us a pool of very dedicated, vetted, hardworking volunteers that the admins, myself, Ryan, Reggie, Cody, Seb, can all work with. So if one of us wants to run an event, right, the logistics are much easier because we can pull 4 or 5 people as volunteers in the CL program.
So obviously, massive engagement, and I just want to congratulate you on. I personally have never heard anyone standardize a group or a community as well as you guys have done. So that's amazing to hear, and I think, you know, it's inspiring for people who watch it or host their own events. This is the standard to look toward. So I'm going to bring it back to you a little bit, Carl. So obviously, as a rider, what do you? It's a very deep question, but I'll wind you up and I'll let you go. What do you get personally from being involved and riding?
So my love for riding and my love for the community are actually kind of different. When I run these group rides, they're not fun for me. I'm there to work. I'm there to make sure everyone's safe. You can't just jet off at whatever speed you want, doing whatever you want. You got to be very focused on the group, right? So my love for riding is mostly separate. And that for me was always, it's just fun. It's so much fun. It's not like there's nothing super deep here. People will be like, oh, it's like therapy. It's a reason to get outside. It's one of this, that. It was never about any of that for me. The idea of putting rockets on the bottom of a piece of plywood with wheels and then just blasting is psychotically entertaining. I love it. That was what made me fall in love with it, and pushing that upper boundary is a huge part of the reason why I came to DIY, and a huge focus in my personal enjoyment of the sport. I want a board that goes 40, 50, 60. I can't ride it. I'm not that good, but it's fun to make, the idea of it. But my love for the community is going to be a little cheesy right here, but growing up, I didn't have a lot of family. Like, I didn't have a lot of people that I really cared about. I was isolated for a variety of reasons, and I never really felt like I had a group of people that I was happy to be with. Starting this community has introduced me to so many incredible people and so much passion and happiness and love. And at the end of the day, that's why I continue to do this, because these people mean the world to me. These events and the idea that they can bring some of that happiness and inclusion to other people, I think, again, it's cheesy, so like grain of salt, but like it's family. That's what it is. Like, I hate to be like the Need for Speed, it's about family nonsense, but these people in this community legitimately mean the world to me. Like, I've been there I bought like some of our riders. They turn 21. I'm the dude buying them their first drink. I've seen people get married, have kids, get divorced. Some of those were great. Some of those were less great. Like, these people are legitimately some of the most important things in my life. These relationships are incredible.
I really appreciate you sharing that, Carl. I think that's really important. I think I talked about, you know, I'm quite open with the things that affect me in the past and whatnot. But I think one thing I've said before is it's like a butterfly effect. Through things that have happened in the past, sets us up to do other things in the future. So, you know, through those things and difficulties you've had, and I appreciate you sharing it on the stream today, you've created this wider family in this demographic, and you send that reward in everything that you do through the community. So, you know, that's an amazing achievement, which is really, really great to see. So I'm going to bring it back into fundamentals a little bit with like riders. I am getting more and more, I'm going to say this, I'm going to swear on my channel, pissed off. I've seen everyone with a height board besides me. How did that happen?
So that Tabor behind me is a little bit of a special case. Was given to us as a nonprofit, but also the Tabor platform specifically is actually kind of extremely well suited for short track racing. So we're working with Hoyt to do a few things, build some content for them, get them a big fat tax write-off. Thanks, guys. And we're also, they're really interested in expanding some of their product and ability to tap into the racing market. So they really want to make a board that excels in every way, and racing is one of those ways. So I'm out here right now. Man, it is really hard to point in the mirror.
Yeah.
So right now I'm working on some content for them with that. Then it's going to transition over to a couple of other content creators in our community for them to take their shot with it. And then it's going to become a race board. And I don't know if you guys like it. It's affectionately referred to as the baby buffalo by our riders, because it's really fat, right? And then it's got these little itty bitty trucks and wheels, and it's astonishingly fast. I
remember when I saw it at Esk8 when it was going past these. I feel like, and you'll get this, I tried the Tabor, and I swear it's like a street board with 80 tires. It's the best way of describing it.
100%.
But seeing those dorky little 5-inch wheels doesn't make sense until you try it and you see it fly past you 35 plus miles an hour. Do you know what I mean?
They're astonishingly quick, and I've gone through and I've looked at the programming they've put in this thing. They've softened it a ton to prevent people from, I assume, to prevent people from hurting themselves. It's very smooth, right? So that climb up to the max speed of like 36, 38 is it's precise and mellow, and it's very linear. And we're gonna fix all of that. We're gonna turn that thing into basically the skateboard crackhead. It's going to launch at things and do crazy turns and just be a wild piece of equipment. And I'm gonna save the original settings. Jackson and Ben, please don't hurt me. I promise I'll swap it back before I hand it to the tests.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, but is that where kind of when you say with the other demographic, we'll talk about briefly, and we'll bounce around between subjects. Keep it exciting. With the kind of neighbouring demon child side of the SD-ESK8, the Advanced Riders division. So is that where it kind of works? So is this your track then? Is this your track?
No, that's Apple Valley Speedway. That's the Stooge Raceboard playground.
Right, I thought it's because that's I've seen content in those.
This page is super underdeveloped. I'll
just stay here.
Make this for the Facebook Marketplace, because at some point we're gonna try and have product and safety gear and stuff. But so ARD is kind of an interesting start. As our community grew, there was a ton of interest in rides that were not catered to people who want to be comfortable and vibe. There are people who just wanted to hit the road and go 40 miles an hour all the time. And I found out about this when somebody came off of a group ride and started putting like full body armor on at their car. And I'm like, hey man, did you get hurt or something? Like, are you okay? Like, do you know? He's like, oh no, we're going over to do another ride. I looked over and there's like 7 or 8 dudes all getting like dressing up like stormtroopers in the parking lot after the ride, basically. And that was when I realized that this was a market that wasn't being served, right? These people wanted better ways to do this. They wanted to go fast and push the limits of the sport, and we weren't providing that. So that was kind of the initial idea behind the Advanced Riders division. And we wanted to take those people who are already SD-ESK8 members and we're trying to push the boundaries of the sport and encourage them to do that in a safe way and provide them with tools and safety gear and knowledge and access and a kind of a sub community for them to do that. and then have them bring all of that expertise and learning and knowledge back to the main community. Because knowing, what parts are going to hold up at high speeds isn't just valuable in a racing context, it's valuable to everybody. Having people who have trained religiously to be able to be very, very good at riding a skateboard isn't just valuable in a racing context, it's valuable when you're trying to bring people into the sport and pair them with good instructors. There are a number of ways that racing pushes the boundaries of the sport as a whole, and we want to take those achievements and make them more accessible to everyone so that everyone can benefit from the research and learning that's being done, pushing those edges out.
So it's just basically kind of like I said, that's how I feel about, like, I ride a bio board and other mental stuff at times, but I can't do what this can do. No way. But I know it's overly engineered for what I'm going to do it for. So I suppose using that knowledge, you said, like, there's a lot of references you've spoken about, like testing, connections, and kind of bringing everyone together. Do you talk a lot with these neighboring companies about giving feedback on a product? And that's another thing that you offer. If you say, look, if you get us involved in this, do some giveaways, promote your product, that's great. But as a result of that, we can give you feedback and we can give it the hands to see what the community thinks in a safe, trusted space.
Yeah. So I've made that offer many, many, many times. I've said, hey, these dudes can go 60 miles an hour on a skateboard. And if you want someone to stress test your product, there you guys, right? So if you want to send us something to give away or do community work with, you'll get a tax break. You'll get some of the most talented racers that we have to try them out and give feedback and all these other things. And they love all the other things usually, right? But then when I say, hey, we're going to put, actual racers on it and maybe get you some feedback, they're like, you're good. A lot of companies don't want people like very aggressively testing their board. And actually, that's one of the reasons that I've been so happy to work with Hoyt and Metro and Zubom and that whole, and M Boards is very much in the same boat. They're constantly soliciting more feedback. I love a lot of the companies that we have worked most closely with because they are here for the love of the sport. They could take their manufacturing, all their other facilities, and make any one of a million other things, and it would be far more profitable, and far better for them, right? But they're making skateboards because they love skateboards, and those companies are the ones that we work with the most closely. Those are the Hoyts, those are the M Boards, those are the Super Beasts and the Metro Boards and Zubom, and they love having those people test their boards because they break them and they find new ways that they can improve their product, and that's what they're about.
So you said, like, you're getting advertisement and tests and stuff like that. What's your team as a content guy? What's your team of content guys over there who are, you said at the beginning briefly, but I want to highlight again, are they part of the race, and is it forever evolving? I think I said about chapters in the beginning of this interview, I feel like there's chapters in what we're doing, and then this race division only in the last couple years has kind of gone to, and we've gone from what's possible to, like, it's unbelievable what's being able to be achieved at the moment. So do you have, like, who's your content guys? You've got your testers, your riders, your racers, who you shout out people who are putting in the public eye.
So our content creation program is still very nascent. It is by far the least invested in portion of our business right now. And again, I use the word business. Please bear in mind, I don't make any money. I feel like that conception gets tossed around a lot. I am literally just burning money in my driveway for this. There are a few really big pieces of our content creation crew locally. Ryan, RB Emotion on YouTube, is obviously absolutely incredible. His skill and intelligence as a builder gives him a huge amount of authority and ethos as a reviewer. Life of Jimmy makes some of the best content I have seen anywhere showcasing our group rides. Does it purely for the love of the game. He's an amazing dude. We also have some like reels and like short form content creators that we work with. Dina over at Dina Catch on Instagram is absolutely amazing. We've been lucky enough to work with some crews from the East Coast, so I got a chance to work with Fred, Esk8 Unity, and City Surfa. both really valuable content creators. Not technically part of our own, but I want to shout them out for coming out to like work with our team. That was awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
On the racing
Oh,
team
Drew
side,
came over as well, didn't he? He was that trio that came over as well.
he was supposed to. That's why he got the shirt, because he's a cool dude, and I didn't want to have him miss out on the shirt. But yeah, we want to make that more. We want to do more outreach and get our creators partnered up with the people who are really pushing the industry forward. I love those dudes over on the East Coast. They're awesome. They're all great.
I've actually just a quick shout out. We're actually having Fred on the stream actually tomorrow. He's coming on.
Hell yeah!
I'll mention it again tomorrow at the end. But yeah, he's coming over for the next one. But yeah, it's just great to see. Like I say, it's a really diverse community, and then you've kind of got your own little chapter where you are currently. So, what is your kind of? Where would you want SD-ESK8 to be end of the year next year going forward?
I have an entire 5-year plan.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be real with you. The next year is boring as hell. Right now, our big focus is on developing, like for the next year of work laid out in front of me is developing our racing league, right? So we have the Advanced Riders division, and we're looking to both go to races and start hosting races and making PEV racing more accessible, because right now it is really daunting. And while you have opportunities to learn at places like Intro to Speed and other similar events, something I've seen time and time again is that there's assumption that because of all the incredible talent people see, you know, Mario and Brandon and Rux and Fess and all those people in the SRT team, they think that that's the floor, right? They think that's where they need to be to start racing. And I really want to challenge that perception, because racing is some of the most heart-pounding, exciting fun you can have in this sport. And people are missing out on it entirely because it's too intimidating.
Yeah.
So we're trying to develop our own talent in-house. So we're doing a lot of work to build our team members that we currently have, recruit new ones that are public info events. But the next stop on that particular train is creating a racing league that is both competitive and fun, but also maybe a little bit more accessible for people who just are wanting to get in there and try it out.
In my feed, I think a few guys, because like massive shout to M Boards and Esk8Con, and I'm going to keep saying it till next year, and I'll talk it again next year. Is my personal feedback, and I spoke to the guys about what because it's not easy. It's not easy. What do you do? Because we're all trying things that might not work, and it's all new and exciting. With the league, I don't know how you feel this. I feel like there should be 4. I feel like there should be Intro Speed, your Elite Riders division, categories, Pro, Intermediate, and Entry, in my opinion, because the gap between that is just the crap on everyone.
It's hard. It's really hard, because this is a sport that some people have been doing for 3 months, and some people have been doing it in one form or another for like 30 years, right? Esk8Con won. Dude outskilled everyone and took home podiums on a boosted board. Boosted board. I don't know who that dude was, but
it's like an old boy came out of nowhere, and he just walked up, turned up, and then went for it.
Apparently, he's like famous in the downhill community. I don't know anything about him, but you have people like that, right? And then you have people who literally just got a board, and they're really excited, and they want to come out and learn. And maybe like learn about racing, right? And then you have to put those people on the same track together. There's no scenario where there's not always going to be a little bit of mismatch. And I don't envy Mike and his team. They're doing some serious work. Yeah. That was crazy. That whole race was wild. Everyone.
But it's great to see everything turned on its head as well, because it's like I said, it's how do we how do you standardize so many? Look, we've got in this photo here, we've got, Paguamas, you've got 4-wheel drive, direct drive, and then you've got AT belt drive. Like, how do you standardize it? And I think the only way of doing it is the times. And massive shout out to the Stooge team and Intraspeed team. They standardize the event at Esk8Con amazingly, and they show that they know what they're doing, and they've done it the right way. Yeah, for sure.
Mo and his team are some of the most dedicated, talented, hardworking, awesome humans I have ever had the opportunity to be alongside. They are really exceptional, and man, just that having that pairing with the SRT racing stuff, them all going out and helping and working with Mike to build just an amazing racing event. I have nothing but excitement for every year of Esk8 up until the time that I get hit by a bus and have to attend it in a wheelchair. At which point it'll probably drop a little bit, but not much.
It'll be electric and it'll be sending it a new demographic.
Well, I'm still hitting the racetrack. I'm just more stable now. You guys got to look out.
Yeah, I got taken out. I do you know what? Like I said, my racing is actually really quite simple. I've just got to race the other content guys. That's all I've got to do. That's my league.
Don't be the content creator. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm racing like Drew, Fred, all those guys. But some of them are just absolutely. Dallas can have his own. He doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, Dallas is an intro chapter owner. We can put him in with the Stooge boys now. He's scared.
I don't know. I was cheering him on for the event, which is really good. But I was doing it, and I got taken out in the practice lab. And actually, 3 months ago, I ripped my MCL ligaments in my right knee. God. Yeah, and do you know what's? I'm going to say it's pretty fair. Sorry, I know it's your stream, but I was doing longboard dancing at 3 miles an hour and twisted my knee, and I had to go have therapy for 3 months to walk. And then I didn't get out of the way out of a Stooge guy's path fast enough, and then he took me out again. I did my lap. I hit the middle class, so that's good enough for me. Yeah. With a busted knee, but I weren't racing because I couldn't move. But talk about how nice the guys are. I was filming the Vegas Strip ride, and I was in the most pain I've ever been riding in my life. And I was in the fetal position on the floor, close to the end, and I felt this hand go like this. And it was Mario. I was like, "We're almost there, bro." I'm like, I can't move. I can't move it. I can't move it all. But I was saying about community. Obviously, you want to see everything be standardized. My dream as an event organizer and doing stuff in the UK is to. It sounds a bit selfish in a way, but I want it to be a stage where no one has to do anything because organically there's something always going on, and I think that would be the ultimate dream going forward.
100%. It's really nice because once the community gets to a certain size, it is in a lot of ways self-sustaining. If there's no ride scheduled this weekend, I'll go in our Telegram chat. People will be like, "Hey, what part of town are you in? Let's ride," right? And the support for both the work we do as for the community and the support the community gives back to itself has been incredible. When people have a problem with their board, straight into the Telegram chat, and there's tons of engineers and people who build their own shit, giving them feedback and helping them out. And it's really been awesome to see that just this community is its own support system in a lot of ways. If I got hit by a bus tomorrow, all these people would still love this. They would still work together. They would still go on rides together. And I think that's really gratifying.
And I think that's the thing, getting everyone together and just knowing that you kind of got a support network is really, really good. But yeah, so you said other companies you've worked with before, as well as before. Other shout-outs, other companies, obviously not board necessarily related, but Treadlights, I can see you guys do a lot of work with them. Any other guys that you want to
Yeah, Eric has been absolutely amazing over at Treadlights. We've worked with a lot of companies at this point, so I'm just going to go down a list. If I miss any of you, I'm so sorry. Send me an email. I'll get you a sticker or something, because there's a lot of you guys these days. Eric's comments in this chat are spectacular.
Do you know what's really funny? It's almost like a newborn in his box. And look at my newborn, and it's like, I'm gone.
Go on, bye. No, Treadlights has been a huge supporter since basically day one. We've had a lot of good experiences working with some of the safety and body armor companies. So Beyond Riders has been amazing, Export has been amazing, Nobleman's been amazing. Board companies, obviously, we're all over the place there, but Hoyt and Metro and Zubom are excellent. M-Boards is excellent. Super Beast has been really, really cool to work with. X-Way, we're doing an event for them next week that's absolutely amazing, and they basically paid to feed everyone at the event for free. Do
you know what I'm going to say briefly as well, actually, just sorry to talk the same, but I really think these guys didn't get much appreciation. well, not as much appreciation, but I feel they need to be celebrated more. X-Way sponsorship for the Esk8 Con was unbelievable.
Yeah.
What they donated towards. Obviously, there was a lot of companies who donated a lot of stuff, but X-Way donated multiple boards for so many classifications. So they were real big shout out.
They've been doing a really big push, I think, to be more involved and active in the community. And of the big four overseas, right? So that's generally Backfire, X-Way, Meepo, and holy cow, who am I? Oh, Onboard. Onboard. Evolves a weird case. Are they Australian? Yeah. Are they Chinese? Are they US? I don't know. They're really cool though. I love their shops here locally. They're some of the most talented and awesome people. Of the big four overseas, X-Way and Meepo have been very, very community focused, and they've worked with us a ton. And it's been really cool to start to see, because they are, again, two of the biggest companies in this space, start to see those ripple effects, right? As they start to engage more with communities and community leadership, they're seeing those benefits return back to the organization. There's more excitement, there's more awareness, there's more organic word of mouth and sales growth. And I've been really excited to kind of see that leaf turn as these communities start to become more recognized. Another good example of this is our neighbors to the north, LAPEV, or as we affectionately refer to them, SD-ESK8 North. Smalls, if you're in this chat, I'm still going to come over there and take over. At some point, I will be sick, and I will have to
invading soon.
Invade, yeah, 100%. They have done a lot of very similar work where they're very active about helping their riders learn about new tech, and then working with the companies who are providing that tech and those boards to get them into the hands of riders. So, like, this sport has gotten insanely expensive. A top of the line board now costs like double what I paid for my first car.
Oh, God. But do you know what though? I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something briefly before I forget it. I found something, by the way, finally. Yeah, stuff like Meepo, X-Way, and stuff like that. They have, in my opinion, grown massively engaged in the community, and people are riding amazing stuff now. The standard, like some of the stuff they've come with, and I feature on my channel, the gear drives, the boards, price point for what they are, it's just ridiculous. You know, it's about high end stuff. You know, introductory boards like that nowadays are unbelievable. Like unbelievable, the standard of what's coming out now. You know, high end stuff is mental, but even like early days, it was like choose your terrible board between the terrible boards. Now they're all the standard of them is amazing.
No, it's been really cool because all of the improvements that get made ripple out through that ecosystem, right? So when somebody goes and they create a really, really awesome gear drive in-house, that research and design gets looked at and it gets built into more products up and down those price points, which is awesome because as this technology gets better and more accessible and more reliable, we get more people in. Because back in the early days, right, your options were basically buy something on Amazon that'll probably kill you, or build something yourself that will probably also kill you. And we've gotten so much better. The newer boards are faster, they're more reliable, there's better price to performance. And obviously, you know, Moore's law kind of dictates that everything gets better at an accelerated rate, at least as far as the technology involved goes. But I think we're really starting to see the point where these devices are going to start making sense, not just as toys and ways to go out and grab a beer from like your local shop,
of how everyone rides.
Yeah, like proper vehicles, right? And some of the work that we're doing long term, I can't talk about this because it's in talks with other companies who don't want me to talk about this, is working to make PEVs safer for new riders and more compelling as vehicles, not just toys.
I'm really sorry, Carl.
Oh no.
I can't do the audio, unfortunately,
Oh
but
my God.
you're lying there and you're like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah. So a little bit of a backstory on that one. I actually got taught how to ride a one wheel by the Wheel Fun Stuff crew, Kyle and Allie, at Fully Charged. It was an awesome experience, but here's the problem. The Fully Charged test track was an oval, and you were only allowed to go one way around it. So I'm only comfortable turning to the left on a one wheel. That's it.
It'd be like Zoolander, yeah?
Yeah.
The Zoolander of one wheel. I know, can he turn left?
I'm a one-trick pony. I just slowly coast.
NASCAR of one wheel. And you can go turn left.
I'm ready.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, just want to highlight one thing, guys. We're on 10 minutes into stream. Please throw in your questions along the way. Anything else you want to talk about? But no, it's been really nice. It's been great catching up so far, Carl. So it's really good to talk about things. So yeah, looking to the future is I feel like everyone got kind of poked a bit last year at the end of the Esk8 with the board that goes to the community every year. Have you guys got that board, or has it gone to a different community?
No, it went to Esk8. Yeah, they're like the coolest community. They have the matching yellow jerseys. By the way, if anyone from Esk8 is watching this, I have hit you up on Instagram. I would like you to make jerseys for us. That shit was clean. That looked good. That was so good.
Do you think like that's gonna be? Do you reckon SD-ESK8 going to come in with an
100%.
army next year?
We're coming for you. No disrespect to our cousins across the pond, but we are taking that board from you. I want it.
I think it's amazing. Yeah, because I think that's just the driving factor. Because in relation to my demographic, there were two of us from the UK because the variables are so hard with getting stuff over. Like, I shipped my bio board over from the UK, and I'm miserable. I was absolutely miserable, and it only arrived like 3-4 days before Esk8 and I sent it like a month before. Jesus. And it only just made it. It was just like, what is it? And on the variables and stuff like that was an absolute nightmare. So you say you're riding the Hoyt at the moment, and it's going to go to be somehow boosted up even more for a race division. What do you ride personally besides obviously the Hoyt at the moment?
Well, right now I ride the Hoyt because everything I own is broken, because that's what it means to be a DIY builder. Sometimes you're busy and you don't get to fix all the things that need fixing. Actually, I've got a mountain board that's coming back to me, I think tomorrow, actually. So I worked on my pride and joy, or at this point, Ryan from RBE Motion's pride and joy, is a 20 kilowatt, 400 amp at 52 volt mountain board. So it weighs like 60 pounds. It can be geared to go 70 miles an hour, and it has over 1,000. It has over 1,000. I think it's newtons of launch force. Whatever that little compiler spits out on the Esk8 Builder website. That's what it says. It says it's scary. It says it's going to hurt me, but it's been rife with issues. So that one's coming home tomorrow. I need to get this guy up here built. This is a 14S8P Hummy on the excellent Rosa drivetrain from Hoyt, and then this right here is in progress as a 3-link Stooge race build. So that's a Red Ember 44, and eventually I'm going to be riding all of those. But until then, I've got this little dude, the baby buffalo, the Tabor.
That's sick. I seem to find, I don't know about you, I feel like there should be, I'm going to be greedy, like four boards. You've got commuter, streetboard, racer, off-road, and then like a wild child, something a little bit.
I love the idea of just having a little itty-bitty, like 12-pound micro board. Like, because there are so many times where like you're not really like riding it. You just need a way to get from the end of the parking lot to like, this is, mind you, I live in Southern California where urban sprawl is like everyone's worst nightmare, and parking lots are like 2 miles wide. Sometimes you just need something that's super small and light and needs to take you like quarter of a mile. So that's my vote. Go and get a tiny board.
So I actually had race boards. Did you know? I'm guessing you know about race boards.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They releasing this.
Yeah. The Rocket Bamboo.
Yeah, and I think they were saying like spec wise, it's just speed is
2400 watt. I wonder.
It's only a tiny board, but it's got
cute. It's pretty.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be much at that size. I mean, if you're riding on like an 80mm wheel, you don't want to go 40 miles an hour because the first crack in the road is going to send you into orbit.
Yeah, I don't get those guys. What they ride on is just absolutely insane. So got about 5 minutes left. I was going to last 5 minutes to my audience. So, Kyle, was there anything particularly you want to talk about in the last 5 minutes of the stream? If anyone's got any questions, whack me now because we're going in 5 minutes.
Let's see. Let's go look at those comments. Yes, Chris, I have subsidiaries. It's why I'm so tired because of all the paperwork with the federal government. Oh, hey. Oh my God! Speaking of the devil, Electric DNA, Nay, Dallas, and Amy. Good to see you guys here. Who else is in here? Justin, the Sauron rider of my dreams. I remember when you were a Super 73 rider. Gabe, one of our riders, actually comes out all the time. It's good to see you, bro. Smalls, he is in here. Perfect. Okay. It's awesome seeing all you guys here. Honestly, I was a little nervous, but it's good to see your guys' faces. Fred! Oh my God, Fred made it. What's up, dude? Jackson? Jeffrey? Oh, the Hoyt family's here. Fred.
So is there anything else you want to kind of highlight on the stream, like you want to talk about before we finish? Or anything else you want to talk about in the community or things you've got coming up?
Nothing specific, but I want to say just a big round of thank you to everyone who has been a part of my communities and my work and who has helped me and has talked to me and just really built this space into something special. And if there is one takeaway that I want you guys to have from watching this interview, it's that this community has always and will always mean the world to me. And I hope you guys continue to love what we're trying to make for you.
I feel that, man. I generally do, and I think having when all the cards come together, you know, the hours of setting things up, getting people together, and then you switch off of that little moment and capture what you're part of. You know,
yeah,
that's really, really a special thing for me. I don't know if you were there because there were so many people. Did you do the little pre-Vegas Strip ride with Joe W?
So I was supposed to, but I wound up going to the industry night instead.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Joe. I still feel terribly guilty about that. I know I was supposed to come out and help you with the route. I love you, bro. Good luck with meeting Tony Hawk. Make sure he rides an electric.
Yeah, I've not put it up yet, but I'm actually doing a stream with him. More stuff on it. I'm speaking. He's coming on the channel Monday. We're going to get Joe. We need an e-skater to win the Tony Hawk competition. Oh,
100%. He's old now. He doesn't want to skate anymore. It's bad for his joints. Get him on a Hoyt board.
Well, to be fair, he was meant to get talking about, e-skate trivia. We need to have it. We need someone. I'm going to put this out there. Anyone's watching. I want an e-skate trivia driven live stream where we all can go in. We can have like quizzes and stuff like that. I used to do it. So much work. Now it's really easy. Don't worry about it. But going on every week, tuning on a little game for everyone will be absolutely business. But yeah, we need to get him on it because Tony was going to make a boosted skateboard at one point, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah. Or I'm going to find it.
Isn't he like a Mercedes commercial with an e-skate or something? Does anybody remember that? Am I like having like a full-on mental breakdown?
We're going off tandem massively now.
Yeah, he told like a skateboard out of the trunk of an electric Mercedes or something.
Oh yeah, I saw that. What's charged the board as you?
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. I can't believe I found this. How quick is that?
Fast.
Yeah, knowing my demographic. This is the Tony Hawk boosted board.
2 bikes and a super-powered electric skateboard. Man, the boosted is one of the most fascinating things to happen in this space. Just watching that company's rise and fall was a roller coaster. But I can't believe, that's a Birdhouse e-skate. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. If anyone didn't say that, that was one of the projects that was out and about. Boosted Tony Hawk board. So yeah, he's involved in it. Involved in it a little bit.
But yeah, somebody go. If you guys haven't seen that video with like the car and the weird the weird electric charging skateboard port thing in the back. It's a really cool concept.
Wasn't it done by Mellow Board or something like that? It was a Mellow Board?
No, it was like literally a Mercedes E-Skate. It was some luxury car company that can afford Tony Hawk. I don't know if it was actually Mercedes, but that whole commercial was like, what is going on? Why is Tony Hawk here? The whole thing was just weird. It's cool. Always love to see mainstream representation of our sport, but like
why are they not in films? And we're going way off tandem now. But yeah, why are they not in films and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Everyone's like, Cyberpunk. I'm like, dude, this is the closest to hoverboards we've ever been. Just put a boosted board in there and paint it black. People will lose
next Fast and Furious, they all go off and they go grab 10 Stooge boards and they go down the strip.
Oh my god, yeah. I would pay actual money to watch Dom hit the ground on a Stooge. That would be fun for me. That'd
be amazing. Right, okay, so we're on the hour mark. Like I say, if anyone's got any questions, please put it in. We'll stay behind and talk about anything else anyone puts in. But yeah, Carl, thanks so much for joining the group. Keep doing what you're doing. People, as you can see in the comments, people love it. People respect it. And, you know what I mean? It's just great to see another community doing things in the right way. And hopefully some of the guys who've been watching today inspire them to do more of the same. I know about me, I want to take some of those lessons and get that team behind me as well. And try and see so we can get more and more PEVs, mainstream nowadays, because that's what it's all about. But yeah, anyway, that's everything from me. Anything else you want to say, Carl, before we finish?
Thank you so much for your time, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure having you on as well, mate. It's really great having you on board. So that is everything from us today. So thank you everyone for watching. Subscribe for more content. We've got Fred from Esk8 Unity tomorrow, and a sneak peek. We've got on Monday. We've got Joe W, Psycho Legend, and which we need to work together and get an Esk8 rider to win the event. That's what it's all about. But thank you so much for joining, Carl.
Go vote for Joe.
Vote for Joe. We're going to get him to win. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.